From Axios, Iran strikes back at Israel. U.S. helps to intercept missiles. Axios reporting Iran launched a major counterattack against Israel on Friday, firing around 100 missiles in 2 barrages. The retaliatory attack began 18 hours after Israel launched a war against Iran, attacking its nuclear facilities and missile sites and killing top military leaders and nuclear scientists. The U.S. is helping to intercept incoming ballistic missiles, according to an Israeli official and a senior U.S. official. So, ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. is now in the war. Now, call it whatever you want. Some might say, I know that the more pro-Israel side is going to say, we are not at war with Iran, we're simply defending an ally. And I know that the anti-Israel side is going to say outright, we have just started a war with Iran. But I think it is fair to say, set all that aside, what is Iran thinking about this? They are threatening retaliation because the U.S. defending Israel and supplying them with weapons while Israel is bombing them. As far as they're concerned, we are at war with Iran. We are actively involved in Israel with weapons, and we are helping intercept the missile strikes against them. That's how Iran's going to see it. The question is, does this result in Iranian attacks on U.S. assets in the region? Considering what Trump has been saying about we knew and the Iran saying that the U.S. was deceiving them, I think it's very likely. Now, a couple quick updates. This is massive. From Fox News, the Kiryat compound, Israel's equivalent to the Pentagon, has been hit. We have this report from Fox News. Let me see if I can play it.
Correspondent Trey Yingst has been up all night, is standing by with all the details. Trey, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Laura, following that Israeli attack against Iranian nuclear facilities and top IRGC leadership overnight and into today, the Iranians have responded with 3 waves of ballistic missiles. This is Israel's version of the Pentagon, the Kiryat. And the building on this compound was just hit.
Please go back. Go back, please. Go back, please.
You can understand here, it's very tense at this specific location because the Iranians are now targeting the defense establishment of Israel.
Wow. So here we go. We also have this from Fox News, Trey Yingst. An Iranian ballistic missile struck a residential building in the suburbs of Tel Aviv. At least 1 woman has been killed and 20 others injured. So far, all I've seen is 1 death in Israel. I'm not entirely sure. There is a video, actually, which I'll seek, which shows the rocket strike. It's close up. So I don't know. What do you guys think? There's a lot to break down on this.
Well, I mean, go ahead.
Well, I think that Netanyahu, who made a proclamation as to why they launched this attack, was likening this to the Nazi military buildup, and the appeasement that happened before World War II. The French and the British, basically Neville Chamberlain, the British prime minister, wanted to appease Hitler because Hitler wanted old German land back. He wanted piece of Poland. He wanted part of Czechoslovakia. So the British gave him Czechoslovakia. They gave him the western part of the Sudetenland. Because of that, the Germans kept building up and building up and building up their military until it was too late.
So this is a video of an Iranian ballistic missile striking downtown Tel Aviv.
And the idea is hypersonic, maybe, like the bypassing the Iron Dome's capabilities, new weaponry. But I think the argument that Netanyahu is making is that he's preempting a military buildup, that if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, they will use it. They will obliterate Tel Aviv. You think that was big? Imagine whatever modern day military warhead. And so it's like, if we don't stop them, but I mean, that's a declaration of total war, if that's the case.
Do you find that argument compelling, that they would actually use a nuclear weapon on Israel? Because honestly, legitimately, I don't think they would. I think the reason that they want a nuclear weapon is because, North Korea has a nuclear weapon and the U.S. isn't breathing down their throat talking about regime change. Libya gave up their nuclear weapon, and then, a couple of years later, NATO was running air cover for the rebels. So I don't think that Iran actually wants it specifically so they can use it to essentially set in motion the destruction of the Iranian regime, right? Because even if they killed a bunch of Jews, right, or a bunch of Israelis and did massive damage, the United States is definitely going to step in if they use a nuclear weapon in
I feel like Iran would stand to lose a lot more, personally, like if they were to nuke, like if they want to hit Israel. They know, and this is something I was watching Tucker Carlson the other night, and he was interviewing that, and saying that we've been made to believe that both Iran and China are like these big threats, but they're really not. Our threats are sometimes our neighbors. Like Mexico has killed more Americans, right, than Iran probably has in the last couple of decades.
Agree about Mexico, disagree about China. Go ahead, sorry.
Right. No, yeah. And hey, my mom's from Mexico. We're right there, and we see the disaster and the implications of having a bad neighbor to our south. And I think somebody, I don't know if it was Jack Posobiec that posted, when are we going to strike the cartel sites in Mexico the same way we're hitting Iran, and I think it's valid.
Israel took out all of their top military brass, and the U.S. is like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cartels are actively killing people all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I don't know how anyone can look at, the president of Mexico now, where Donald Trump kind of extended his olive branch and say, look, if you want us to help you with your cartel problem, we can. But of course, he wants to make it seem like, oh, we will never allow like another country to come in and take care of our own problems. We can do it by ourselves. But it's like, okay, you're kind of telling on yourself right now.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a lot of people post, Israel has a right to defend itself. And I'm like, wait, hold on. You're not seriously implying that a preemptive strike on Iran was self-defense.
That's been since thousands of years. They've been making that argument. It is. The Romans did it. They were like, look, because sometimes if you just sit back and wait and the enemy on the other side of the border builds up their military and you don't do anything, then they invade you. They destroy your industrial capacity. You can't rebuild your counterattack. So you do the preemptive attack as a form of defense because they're going to attack you. But
That's right.
The argument
Offense is defense.
It's the best defense. A lot of people say in war for sure. Like the French before World War II.
Like if you're in a situation where you have to defend your life, like if you got a gun, you don't have to wait for someone to punch you to take your gun out. And
so let's try this. Your neighbor says they are going to kill you, and then you're like, okay. And then one day you see him standing in his front yard assembling a 308 and while smiling at you. Do you have a right, or does it make sense to attack them?
Technically, legally, no.
No, you don't.
Morally,
I mean, in real life, you call the police.
I don't think that's a fair analogy.
in war, there's no law. Sorry to interrupt you there.
It's very different when you're dealing with a nuclear bomb and mass casualties.
Yeah.
The scale of death is where things get weird. Now, I'm just saying, there are people who are ideologically captured on Israel. I call them the Israel First people. And they are like, denounce Israel strikes on Iran, Tim. And I'm like, I don't care. I literally don't. I'm not going to denounce Burma or whatever it is China's doing or Tibet and Pakistan. Israel, Iran, whatever. I'll denounce the U.S. involvement and say the U.S. should not be involved in this.
And I don't know if you guys have also seen, there's articles going around that as far back as the 1980s, Israel has been putting out headlines, Iran is close to a nuclear war within 5 years. And there was another one in 1995, like they're months away from an atomic bomb. And then fast forward 45 years and it's the same headline over and over again. Just, hey, there's a nuclear war that's about, and we have to go in there. To me, it just doesn't make sense because Israel, they've got so many different war fronts. They're going on in Syria, they're going on in Lebanon, they're going on in Yemen, they're going on they're still got Gaza to take care of. Why launch a new assault on Iran, knowing that the backlash? And then when I saw that they were getting that they had assaulted and done drone strikes in Iran, they're saying now Israel is asking all its citizens to flee, into shelters because Iran's going to hit back. And I'm like, well, what did you expect was going to happen?
Well, you almost wonder if they knew that was going to happen and if they're using it as a casus belli.
And that Pentagon thing they got there, what's it called? That building that they have? It's a civilian military site. So it's like a human shield site. If it gets blown up, they're going to be like, all the civilians that were there. And that's sort of
Pentagon is the same thing.
Yeah, the military's usually directed by the civilians in most democracies.
This is the thing about this attacking Iran, claiming Iran's a big threat. In the late 70s, there was an Iranian revolution. The Shah, which was democratically elected president of Iran, got overthrown in suspectedly a CIA coup. The Israelis may have been involved, but they put in this radical religious sect, this Ayatollah Khomeini, this intensely radical Islamist, who's the perfect enemy. And now they have an enemy to fight. It's similar with Hamas. The Israelis are apparently they propped up Hamas because they needed someone to fight against.
The United States didn't back the Shah. They didn't back the.
I think
they backed the revolution.
We overthrew the Shah and installed a democratic regime, which was then overthrown by the Islamic Revolution.
So even right now, we got a super chat. And with respect to Scott Thomas and your 64 months, Seriously, wow, thank you very much. He says, stop simping for Israel. They had negotiations for Sunday. They could have waited, but decided to be the aggressor. And this is what I'm talking about. How is it simping for Israel to say the U.S. should not be involved in Middle Eastern conflicts? Because the U.S. should not, because I have to be anti-Israel?
You're not.
I'm as anti-Israel as I am anti-Burundi.
And not only that, but I think, this is something that my audience has been asking me is why does Israel keep announcing, why does the U.S. keep announcing that they're going to strike on Sunday? They're going to strike on Sunday. Why tell your enemy? But it's also public pressure, right? Because if now Israel can kind of go back and the U.S. can kind of go back and like, look, for months and for weeks, we've been putting out, we need to strike a deal, we need to strike a deal. But you opened up the segment, Tim, with the fact that I guess Israel's admitting that this was all like a ruse, that the deals were actually just to like kind of deter Iran and kind of have its defenses down. So that's kind of a shocking revelation. The fact that it looks like Donald Trump is saying, yeah, we've been lying to Iran. So now I know there's a lot of people pissed off at Donald Trump because they're like, what the heck?
Trump wasn't really negotiating peace.
Well, also, more importantly, he wasn't just lying to Iran. He was lying to us.
All of us.
He told us that we weren't involved in this, and now it turns out we were.
So we got a video. It looks like somebody who was in the building that got hit filmed it. Check this out.
Okay.
Yo. Jeez. That's crazy.
Go!
Yeah, go, get out.
Damn.
Or he's right next to the building that got hit.
I like that it's going back and forth between Hebrew and English.
Yeah.
He's cursing in English.
Right.
But he's in shock in Hebrew. Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.